What do I mean when I say incorporate sensory details that demonstrates your character? My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. So the actual question says, are you incorporating sensory details in a way that demonstrates who this character is and what is important to them? Can you please elaborate on this? And so I'm going to use a recent client that I worked with. The opening pages of this book, we were working on a pitch package together. And so the first 10 pages were mechanically very sound. Grammatically, it was correct. I understood what the author was saying. They were very clear. They were very concise. They were introducing characters in a logical fashion. The voice was fine overall, but we weren't doing this thing of integrating sensory details. In fact, this author had done a thing that a lot of authors do, in which they started by describing the room. And so there was like 2 full paragraphs in a row describing different sensory details about the room, what things felt like, what they looked like, the sounds that they made, all of these things, like literally from the ceiling to the carpets, the furniture, and everything in between. And that in and of itself might not be bad, but are you going to want to do that every 10 pages for the next 400 pages? Probably not. So my advice to this author was to take those paragraphs and break them up. Integrate those details as the characters came across them and show the characters interacting with the setting in a very sensorial sort of a way. Make sure that they are touching and feeling and hearing and seeing and smelling and all of those things throughout the scene, piece by piece, so that the picture starts to build itself, but it builds itself through the character's eyes. This author took this feedback and just absolutely knocked it out of the park. And this is going to get really like the curtains were only blue, like kind of here for a second, but this is what I am talking about. So the woman got up out of bed after doing the thing, but she like trailed her fingers along these heavy velvet curtains, clearly longing for a better, softer touch. Man ended up at one point during the scene like having his toes rubbing on a section of the carpet that was a little bit itchy and irritating, and this was an outward manifestation of his discomfort with a conversation they were having. He wanted to distract himself from that conversation. He let his eyes wander past a piece of art and find it like overly erotic, more so than anybody else would, and paying attention to those details, again, demonstrating that there maybe is something lackluster in their relationship. The candles flickered at just the right moment to add atmosphere to the setting. The details of what was shining and reflecting versus what was being touched and what was being felt. It was all integrated at exactly the right moment to demonstrate this dynamic between the characters, because now we are seeing this setting not through the narrator's eyes, but we are experiencing it through the character's perspective. And it ended up telling me so much about these characters. And I am the editor. I am analyzing this on a really like deep and intricate kind of level. And most readers are not going to do this line by line on purpose, but it will shine through. If you do this in every scene all the way through the book, it doesn't come across as heavy-handed. Now, if you were to say like she ran her fingers over these velvet curtains, wishing that her lover had touched her more delicately, that's too much. But if you just integrate this sensory detail in a way that feels natural, in a way that feels organic to the setting and to the characters, and you make sure you put this all through the character's perspective, the reader is going to be much more immersed, and over time that is going to shine through and is going to make the novel feel much more impactful rather than just like detailing it all out at the beginning.